Sphinx, maybe seal. First step, find your way onto your belly. Now, passive back bending is totally weird. It goes counter to everything you've ever learned about back bending. So as you just come into kind of an easy Sphinx first and just kind of get a sense of what's going on around the sacrum. I like to kind of interlace my fingers as I do this up on the elbows. And see if you might notice, widen your legs as wide as feels comfortable. And take a moment, draw your awareness down towards the sacrum. The sacrum is the last 5 or 6 fused vertebrae at the base of your spine, between the ears of the pelvis, like let a happen. And then bring your legs together. With your legs together, notice how it feels on your sacrum. A little bit more up through the spine. Now generally, not always, but generally, the wider the legs are in this passive back bending, the more potent and directed the work is going to be right at the sacrum at the low back. Generally, the closer the legs are together, the more the opening happens. It's more, the word maybe is, the more distributed the opening is up through the spine. I like to focus it at the sacrum. So come into Sphinx pose. Elbows are bent. I like to turn my palms up, and I like to have my elbows slightly in front of my shoulders. Okay? If you can already sense that it's too much bend for you, try sliding your elbows out a little bit further. Maybe placing the hands on the floor. Okay? Now just to kind of distinguish the difference between active and passive, take a moment to press down through the arms, roll the shoulders back, lift up through the heart, and even squeeze the buttocks a little bit so you know when you're doing that. So that's active, yang, as opposed to yin. And then let a happen, let it relax. And as you let it relax, you might start to feel a dull, pooling pressure sort of sensation right at the base of the skull, at the base of the spine. Okay? Generally, that's an appropriate feeling. You let your shoulders kind of lift, you let your belly relax, you let your ribs relax, and you soften. Okay? If you've never done a passive back bend, hang here. Okay? It's a totally different feeling. And it's the counterpose to our modern life. Okay? Everything in our modern life is conspiring to curl us up in a little ball. You know, most of us spend most of our day rounded forward at the computer, in a car, on the couch. Okay, very few of us, my friend Arturo says, make a living in a back bend. If you've been kicking around this yin thing for a while, or you can just sense that your body can handle a little bit more, you might start to make your way to seal. Now I'm on a wood floor here with just a little blanket between me and that wood floor. And so for me to be able to do seal comfortably, I like to have a little support underneath my hips. My hip bones are right there at the back of that blanket. Now that's going to take away some of the bendiness, but it's going to make it so I could be there a little longer. I like to turn my hands out. And as I draw my arms towards straight, if I keep the hands more in front of me, I'm going to focus the bend more in the thoracic, the mid-spine. Since I want to feel it today more in the low back, I'm going to bring my hands in closer. I'm going to put my hands on the wood floor so they don't slide. And then the play is to let it relax. You let your shoulders lift. Now, I'm not hunching my shoulders, but my shoulders are lifting as my belly softens, my ribs soften, my mouth softens. my legs soften. And again, it's that same kind of dull, pooling pressure that starts to collect around the low back. I like to let my head sort of gently find its way a little bit from side to side and kind of stretch it a little bit there, leading with the jawline, but you might prefer to simply let your head hang. Let happen. The play in my arms, I'm sort of endeavoring to find less and less effort in my arms. Almost as if I only had like thin bands of carbon fiber in my arms. It's like less and less and less effort down through my buttocks, down through the legs. Okay, and just like everything that we've been doing, if you can start to feel yourself gripping your teeth or gripping your face, if you can feel that, try to relax, but then it's just going to be better to come out. These things take time. I feel like today, it's funny, I could feel like I could be here all day today. That is not like that every day. Okay. Slowly to come out from seal, you'll start to let your elbows bend. And I like to let my elbows come down to the floor, and I like to let my head rest on my hands. And there'll be a feeling, it'll feel a little fragile, even a little vulnerable down there in the low back, and you'll even wonder if that was so good for you. Take a moment, wait, let it settle. And then only as it really feels right to do so, again, try not to rush it. You'll find your hands under the shoulders and you'll start to press back towards child's pose. Letting the hips come back towards the heels, wiggling the hips towards the heels, and It might feel nice to let the hands reach out in front of you, and that forehead might find the floor. Let a bit of a happen. And then when you've kicked it here long enough for you, you'll let the hands come underneath the shoulders. The chin will come into the chest. You'll let yourself roll back up. See you in the next clip for lunges.